Villainous Heroics by I Believe in a Happily Ever After on AO3. Chapter 1. Villainous Heroics by I Believe in Happily Ever Afters. Villainous Heroics by I Believe in a Happily Ever After on AO3. Summary. Eraserhead is an underground hero who is currently busy and doesn't have time to be dealing with new villains, even if they aren't all that villainous and make the night interesting. Present Mike is the latest up-and-coming villain in the world, and he has a point to prove to everyone out there, as long as he doesn't keep getting distracted by Eraserhead. Aizawa Shota is someone who soon learns that there is more to someone than the mask they show to the world, especially when it comes to playing heroes and villains. Yamada Hizashi learns that there is more to heroics and villainy than he could have ever thought, especially in a world where some heroes still care about those lost in the shadows. Inspired and dedicated to corndog-patrols, Villain Mike AU on Tumblr. Chapter 1. Aizawa Shota started at the aged cryptic bar that was buzzing with music so loud the building itself might as well have been shaking into pieces. He certainly wouldn't be surprised if it crumbled. The brick walls were from the music, if this is how nights normally went. He had originally been responding to a call about a public disturbance that had probably morphed into a bar fight. But one look at the place had Shota rubbing at the bridge of his nose and wondering if it was too early for retirement. Well, he didn't mind breaking up the average bar fight, as they could lead to another dangerous outcome. It was never his favorite thing to do while on patrol. Still, he was a hero, and an underground one at that. If he had to break up a bar fight, then so be it. He just wished he didn't have to deal with drunken idiots who don't have control of their quirks. Adjusting his goggles and swinging himself down to the street level, Shota lightly landed on the balls of his feet before settling his capture scarf back around his neck. Carefully, he circled around to the back of the bar and entered through an unlocked employees-only door. The music was even louder when he entered, and the kitchen was in utter disarray. Shota wasn't sure if that was from the supposed bar fight, though, or if it was just the typical state of this bar. He was willing to believe in the latter, considering the area he was in. Creeping towards the swinging door, he paused as he surveyed the bar just out of sight and saw. He wasn't sure what he was seeing. There was a fair amount of what looked like drunken idiots, but everyone in the bar seemed to be singing to the same annoying American song that was playing on the karaoke machine. Feeling a vibration from his pocket, Shota inched his way back into the dark kitchen and took out his phone. Scrolling through the text alert from his agency, the only number he let through when he was out on patrol besides a select few others. Update. Bar on Block 7 thought to be held hostage by a new villain with an unknown quirk. Proceed with caution. Wonderful, Shota murmurs to himself, looking back up at the door and trying to decide if he could force someone else in his agency to deal with this. Considering he was the only hero not actively out on a mission, he doubted it. Creeping back into the bar, Shota looked for whoever this villain could be. A second look showed a lot of the people who were singing looked nervous or frightened, but a few of the drunken ones looked to be having the time of their no doubtably short lives. It was unsurprising to see that most everyone in the bar were well into their 30s and 40s, but at least that meant he didn't have to worry about getting some stupid kid out here. Looking at the bar, Shota suddenly realized that he may have found his villain. He doubted there would be any other reason for a man to be dressed in nothing except leather and piercings with yellow hair sticking out like a bird's cess. He also had what looked to be some type of support equipment around his neck and ears that had Shota placing a hand on his scarf. If this was the villain, then his quirk was unknown, but it looked like a physical mutation quirk. That was some good news for Shota, at least. If he was a danger, Then he would erase it and be done with this mess. The man looked well on her way of being drunk and had all the enthusiasm of a university student out for a break, tossing back shots and looking to be singing along to the song around with the rest of the bar. While the new villain didn't look like much of a threat, Shota had never gone wrong in being cautious. After one look over to make sure there were no weapons or traps, Shota leapt forward and threw out his scarf, wrapping it around the man tightly and yanking him off the bar onto his feet. Shot glass jerked out of his hands with the movement and shattered on the floor. Oi, that's top shelf! Even being wrapped up and unable to move, the villain looked as if he was having the time of his life. He didn't look young enough to actually be a university student. Maybe this was some kind of dare or haggling attempt? Leave it to a hero to come crashing down at such a rocking party. I don't think your hostages consider this a party. Shota tightened his grip on the scarf, raising an eyebrow when the villain only beamed at him. I suppose you'd be willingly? I don't suppose you'd be willing to come quietly. Those who weren't drunken idiots were scrambling out of the way, either leaving the bar entirely or finding a place to hide. Shota noted a few of them were still singing up on the stage, looking completely unconcerned. What? You're not even gonna ask for my name first? The villain gave a wide and toothy smile, orange-tinted glasses slipping down the bridge of his nose. I thought they raised you heroes with some manners. Shockingly enough, those manners don't apply to villains like you. I'll ask you one more time. Come quietly. Shota didn't bother to make it much of a question, instead checking to make sure the path to the door was clear and getting ready to use his quirk as soon as he would need it. Man, you're such a drag, Eraserhead. Whatever amused Shota had in the situation vanished quickly as he looked back to the grinning villain. Shota knew that he was known as a pro-hero, but he was an underground hero. The public wasn't meant to know his name. Villains, however, they knew his name. Oh, that got your attention. Ready to hear my name, then? Shota gave a little tiss, finally nodding his head. Honestly, these types got more and more dramatic each year. He couldn't believe some of them, through fighting in leather, was comfortable. Not to mention the sunglasses when they were in a dark bar. You're looking at the one and only voice villain, Present Mike. The villain, Present Mike, gave a wide grin and looked like he had no fear. Shota could only stare, managing to find the words to describe the feeling he had inside him. That's a stupid name. What was that even supposed to mean, Present Mike? It sounded like he just put some cool English words together. Voice villain, though, that meant his quirk no doubt had something to do with his voice. Hey now, that's a great name! Present Mike looked thoroughly offended, and he wasn't fighting back. Sure, you can tell me all about it on the way to the police station. Jerking his scarf forward to make the man start moving, Shota watched as he whined and complained and screamed out a rather loud good night and goodbye to everyone in the bar. Shota was tense the entire way to the police station as they waited for Present Mike to finally use his quirk and escape, but all he did was talk and talk and talk. Shota was starting to wonder if his quirk was simply annoying people with his voice when he finally got to the station, Shota holding the man off to the police officers. Again, he half expected a fight, but Present Mike just grinned at him, seemingly pleased as he could be. Looks like our time together has come to an end, Eraserhead, but don't worry, I'm sure we'll meet again very soon. Staring at Present Mike for a long moment, Shota finally gave a snort of laughter. Right, have fun playing arch nemesis then. It happened occasionally that some thug or up-and-coming troublemaker would target him as some rival or enemy and take him out. They were usually kids that he could scare straight, but this guy looked as if he had just one drunk too many and needed a few days to sober up. Considering he hadn't even bothered fighting back and no one in the bar had looked hurt, Shota was Sir Present Mike, wouldn't get charged with more than stealing some alcohol and being a public disturbance. Good night, current wire or whatever. Oi! Present Mike! My name is Present Mike. Honestly, like a toddler kicking up a fuss. Well, at least Present Mike had made his night briefly interesting, and now he could go home and get some sleep. Not a terrible night, he supposed. A week later, from his first meeting from Present Mike, and Shota was starting to wonder what gods he had managed to piss off. A response to a series of disturbances in bars along his route showed that the villain was back at it again, and this was the third time he was fighting the man. And fighting was a strong word. Come on, Eraser. Surely we could come to an understanding. You know, there's this diner I know that's open late. Present Mike cut himself off with a grunt as Shota's fists connected with his stomach. A quick quick, making the other's knees buckle before he was hit to the ground. Sorry, I don't go out with villains. Ready to come out to the police station yet? It was too late to be dealing with this. But I thought we were having fun. The pout looked ridiculous on the man. That had to be around Shota's own age, and it was starting to piss him off that he still didn't know what the other man's quirk was. He could probably find out from the police station, but that seemed like too much effort when he didn't care that much. How about you at least agree to come with me for a coffee date? How about no? The second Present Mike was back on his feet, he was charging towards Shota, who was a little impressed with the guy's speed. It wasn't enough to really surprise him, though, and soon Present Mike collapsed on the floor and groaned again. Looking at the latest bar owner, Shota pointed at Present Mike as he spoke. Call the police and let them know I'm bringing him in. They'll handle whatever charges you want to press. Please. The owner was an older lady, who looked to have been in her fair share of fights. Black, tall claws and ears showing she had a mutation quirk. He's not even the most troublesome partner I've had. Damn loud, though. Civilians in the peculiar were always strange, more than so. Shouta had noticed. He wasn't sure if that made his job easier or harder some days, though. Still. With that, Shouta wrapped Present Mike in a scarf, once again grateful for his capture weapon, as he tugged the man out of the bar before stomping onto the sidewalk to properly tie his wrist behind the back of the weapon. Bemoaning the lack of cuffs, he did really need to get more soon. You have better wrap it tight, baby, or I'll escape. Present Mike's flirtation tone, Shouta decided was the most annoying part of him. That and his pet names. The second most annoying part was the fact that he didn't even seem like a villain. He was more of a misguided annoyance. Why are you even telling me that? You don't want to escape, villain. Giving a tug to make sure the knot was tight, Shouta glanced up to see that Present Mike was looking over his shoulder, soft expression on his face. Shouta noticed his sunglasses, multiple earrings, and ridiculous hair looked a touch less stupid with that expression. From you, hero? Never. Meeting the other's eyes and staring for a long moment, Shouta finally snorted and gave the man's ankles a kick to get him moving. I'm turning you over to the police. And there was a pout again. Ineffective as always. Oh man. If nothing else, Shouta supposed that Present Mike broke up the monotony of his usually nightly patrols. It was nice dealing with some tipsy idiot with a leather fetish rather than wasting a night on useless tips that never seemed to land anywhere. He just wasn't sure how to deal with this new villain. Though, when he started setting up traps to capture Shouta and end up falling into them himself. Eraserhead, you're probably wondering why I'm upside down like this. I'm not. But it is all part of my master plan to capture you. No, Shota's nights certainly weren't boring anymore. He wondered if it was too late to change patrol routes. Oh my god, I love this. Okay, before I asked for permission, right? And then after, I ended up finding this Tumblr person, right? And I actually follow them on Tumblr and have been for like a week or two. But I asked for permission on this fanfic a while ago, right? And when I found that Tumblr person, I'm like, oh my god, they have a villain Mike AU. I love that. And I really enjoyed their little comics that they post. By the way, I will have the link to their Tumblr down in the description because they have a lot of Eraser Mike content, as well as some digital circus content that they're starting to post up now. But they have a lot of Eraser Mike content that I really, really enjoy and just absolutely love. And when I saw the summary of this, I'm like, wait, hold up. Inspired and dedicated to corndog-patrols? I love that. I love that. I was so excited because I'm like, oh my god, I know exactly how this whole thing is gonna go. Or not exactly how it's gonna go, but I know the dynamic between Shouta and Hizashi. The whole Hizashi being like a villain, but not really, really a villain, and being kind of goofy and flirtatious, and Aizawa being like, I need a pay raise, you know, kind of thing, which I really enjoyed in their comics, so I'm gonna really have so much fun with this in this podfic. And I hope you guys enjoy this. This is a very, like, lighthearted kind of, I mean, I'm think it's lighthearted. The first chapter was lighthearted. The first chapter was like a little lighthearted. I like it. I very much like it. I always like these type of AU kind of things, but, you know, it's kind of funny that this one also ended up being 20 chapters, like, you know, Mockingbird and Lyrebird, but hey, coincidence. You guys picked this one, and I hope you guys enjoy this. And as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, have a wonderful day or night. Join our community Discord server, link is in the description, subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.